Hi guys. We are very excited today. We have a special episode for you. So joining us shortly, we have a author that is new and upcoming that we're interviewing, and her second book actually comes out this week.
I think
So
it
we're gonna
comes
get
out
her,
on December 5th, so
yep,
Friday.
yeah. So we're gonna get her on here, and we're gonna just do a deep dive interview and let you guys get to know her and our new favorite characters. Yay! Yeah.
Okay,
Hi.
hello.
Hi. Danny, do you want to do like a little introduction of who you are?
I'm happy to do that. Hello, I'm Dany Crooks. I write sob stories for people who are looking to escape, with a little bit of love in there, after I make my characters work really, really hard for it. I live in Michigan now, but I am a Southern transplant. I've been writing for, I know we kind of are going to go over some of this stuff, but I've been writing for almost 20 years now, but decided one day to take it seriously like 2 years ago. So here we are. And now we're going to talk about all of the cool books that I've written.
Yay.
My ADHD brain.
Love that.
Perfect.
Have you always wanted to be a writer?
I don't know, like, I want to say yes, but I don't think that, like, when you're young and you're doing this for fun, that you ever, for me at least, I don't know if I ever, like, was like, I'm going to do this one day and I'm going to be a writer and I want it to be my full-time job. I think it was more like I like writing, and for a long time it was a hobby. And then I was like 27 and I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I was having my like quarter life crisis. And someone was like, maybe you should like take writing seriously. And I was like, okay, one day I'll have a dream. And lo and behold, now here we are, after a dream. But I think that I don't know if it was ever like I wanted it to be like you think
Yeah.
about it, you're like that would be cool. One day I'll write a book and I'll do something fun, but
Right.
I never thought it would be what it is now.
Right.
And
Yeah.
now here you are, and you have your second book coming out from this series.
Yeah. So third, technically, well, I don't know. Everyone like I have to like remind people that technically Heart's not novella size. It's larger. It's technically novel, but it's so
Yeah.
much smaller than the rest of them. So
Mhm.
I want it to say like this is technically is my third book, but I'm like that feels like I'm cheating because that was barely a novel.
Icon Studios, good. I mean, it definitely is coded as like 1.5 on Kindle Unlimited or something, and
Yeah.
then but I think you've written 3 books,
Tech,
so
this is the third release. We'll go
Yeah.
by that. It's my
Third
third,
third
release.
release. Yeah, there you go.
which it does not get any less stressful. If anything, I feel like I push the deadlines a little bit closer now because I'm like, you got this. And then I'm the night before the deadline. I'm like, baby, we don't got this.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely could be stressful because like I'll read some books and I'm like, I don't know how y'all come up with this. I don't know how your brains work. I
Well,
don't
so
know
that
where,
that
I don't
goes
know
into
how
this
you're working
next
in there
question.
because
That goes into this next question. So you said that like you've been writing for 20 years and that you just started taking it seriously. So how long have you been plotting this story? And then
Um,
what's your timeline of like plotting itself? Like, do you have a timeline of like you do a year per book or you plot per year, you write? Like, how does all that your process work?
Everything's been so different because this is my first time ever taking it seriously. So this specific story, um, I had this, I had decided it was like early 2023. I was like, okay, we're about to turn, I think I was turning 28 that year. Yeah. And I was like, you're about to be 30. Like my mom kept saying, oh my God, I can't believe you're going to be 30. And I'm like, okay, mom, whoa,
Like, don't
chill.
remind me. Thanks.
I'm like, don't, I left my career. I hopped around. I was doing, I coached CrossFit for a little while. I just was doing all these different things. And I was like, what are we going to do with our life? Like, you have to have a plan. Like, when I was younger, I had this clear plan of what I thought I was going to do with my life. And when I didn't do it, I was like, well, what now? So I had started to have this idea of like, I'm going to write a book. And I was like, I'm just going to grab this journal at Ollie's. It was like $2.99. It's the ugliest thing. It has all these weird art pieces inside of it, but it was like a cheap journal. And I was like, we're going to put it by my bedside and we're going to call it my dream journal. And so I had this dream journal and I didn't touch it for months, 6 months. It like sat on the side of my bed. That was probably 2022. And then coming into 2023, I woke up from like this dead sleep and was like, my husband's like, what's going on? And I'm like, I have to write this down. And he's like, are you okay? Like, are you fine? And we know no. But I wake up from this like dead sleep, and all it was this single quote that was like, it took me a lot longer to find you this time, which at the time I had no idea. I had no idea.
I love that.
I don't know what the context of the like dream was about. All I remember was waking up and remembering like it took me a lot longer to find you this time. I have this ugly little journal and it says like Dany's dream journal, and it has like the date that I bought it on the inside, and I flip open and the first thing on this page, there's nothing written for months. It's been by my bedside. And there's this like little quote, and it's just what Arlet ends up saying in chapter 10. But that was where it kind of spiraled from, and it turned into like just kind of my like dump book, where it was like all of the things that I was thinking or all of the research that I was doing, just a format for like a place for me to like put everything down. So this story started, I'll say like, I want to say it was like February of 2023. And then I had been posting on my personal Instagram story and was like, I'm going to sit down and do some writing tonight. And a friend of mine was like, what do you mean? And she actually had like just gotten ready, like she was getting ready to publish her first book. And I had seen a lot of her TikToks and was like, I maybe I'll just sit down and just write the book. We'll figure everything out later. And she was like, no, we're gonna like, nope, you're gonna do this, and we're gonna take it seriously. And I was like, oh God, okay, here we go. So I didn't publish Revenge until September of 24. So it took, I think there was like 18 or 19 months in between the start of like writing it. So that was the longest period. And then Heart was, hold on, I think I have this written down. Heart was like a lot less. I think Heart I did in like 7 months. I started that in like September and had it published in March. And then like Vengeance that was a lot. Vengeance was 11 months from start to finish.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to me because, you are saying like, yeah, it was a long time. No, you're an author who's pushing things out. And I have some of my favorite authors that I've waited 4 years for the third book. So
yeah. So then that's funny because like in the indie publishing space, like, man, if you're not doing a book every 6 months, like you're kind of getting left behind in a sense. And I think that some of that is changing. I think that when you find your favorites and like you get your readership, but for a long time, it definitely was like, if you're not publishing every 6 months, then like you're getting left.
Well, I also feel like, I mean, obviously I'm not an author, I'm just a reader, but from a reader standpoint, I feel like a lot of things that have changed too are that I've noticed that when authors are taking a little bit longer to get a book out, they drop a new release special edition of the book. And then boom, everyone is into collecting these special editions now. So then it's like, oh, this is this. And then that settles us for a couple more months. And then boom, book comes out. So I have noticed with a few authors that the little extra time they need, a release of like some crazy edition of it.
100%. And with me, so it was like 18 months between like starting Revenge and publishing, and then like a little bit long, or maybe that was until Heart. I can't remember exactly what the time frame on that was. It was obviously longer for book 1 because I didn't know what I was doing. Was definitely not giving myself crazy deadlines. And then Heart was like pushing a heavier deadline, but it was a smaller book. And then I was like, Heart was a breeze. I got this, and was like, okay, do you got writing 140,000 words in 3 months? And I did, but I don't know. I don't want to do that again.
That can be a lot on somebody.
I still work full time. So this last year has been a lot for me. I do have another release, which I know we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I have one that it's going to be another quick one, but it's something different. But yeah, going into that, like, I think it'll end up being like early 27 before I get it out, just to give myself the time again.
Yeah. You time is very important.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Also, like, it's the last book in the series. And like I can't even believe that. So I want a little bit more time with them. I feel like this book release, I didn't get to like enjoy it as much, where I'm like, okay, this is the last one that we get to see in this world with this specific plot line. So we're like closing the doors to Toliver for now.
I also feel like that's something that people don't understand either. And
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I am guilty of it too. Like, I'll be like, oh my God, just give me the last book because I
Of
need to know what happens. But then also, like, we've had multiple conversations about this with like other series where we've said at the same time, people need to realize that this is this author's life. And they also, just as much as we build these connections, imagine writing these
yeah,
these these people. So like that connection's even deeper. So take the time.
I
Take the
know.
time.
I know it'll be
Not too
better.
much time. When you're doing it big like that, like you get to.
But you also have been in this spot right now where like you don't have the time. So like I know one day I will have like a schedule that'll work better for me, but also I know the first like 3 years of starting any business, because essentially like that's what you have to think of this
Pretty much,
as
yeah.
on the back end of things. Those are the hardest times.
Okay, so
So,
that definitely goes into the next question.
yeah,
Okay.
so piggybacking off of that, you said that so we have the third release out of 4 coming on Friday.
Yeah.
So the third book, technically fourth release for you, is
Yeah.
the last one. Do you know the ending already?
And how long have you known? Like, is this one of those things that you've always known where it was going and you're filling in between,
So
or making up as you go?
I kind of like when I plot, I see the beginning, the middle, and the end, whether that's per book or like the series as a whole. So I
Okay.
kind of knew like going into writing, when I started Revenge, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I just had no clue where the fucking story was going. I had no idea what Vega's curse was. I had no idea how it was. I knew so many little details.
Yeah.
But now, like, as I got into book 2, I could see, I kind of at the beginning knew like this is where we were starting Revenge, what the kind of like middle point of what I wanted Vengeance to be. And then I kind of had this like wrap up in my head. And now I've been able to like build details around those things. So the ending is clear to me now, but I know myself and I know like my characters, we were talking about this earlier, like your characters kind of, I'm an author who I plot but not super heavy because I want my characters to kind of have like the space to tell me what they want in those moments, which is
Right.
so funny to like say it like that, but it really like they have their own personalities and they kind of like I could plot all day that Vega is going to go into the scene and she's going to do XYZ, and I bring another character in and it completely flips. So um I have like an idea of what I want it to look like, which oh my god, it's so I can't even like it's crazy that I'm even thinking about the end of this series. I'm like, what? No, not yet. Like, no.
Still
Um
have time.
but I've talked about this before. I do plan on kind of leaving the universe open.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go like explore and do. I have a rom com coming out, so I'm gonna start peppering in like rom com and romantasy, and doing like a back and forth thing.
Okay.
Cute. Oh my God.
Like
I love
they're
rom-coms. I'm so excited
oh
now.
my gosh, my I'm having the time of my life with this rom com. I can't wait to like start talking about it a little bit more. I like tease about it on threads a little, but it's so fun. It's so different than like what I've been writing recently, so
Yeah.
it's like a fun escape for me.
Um, is there a particular scene or like certain passage that you are in like so proud of? Like if you had to think of like what is just one scene that you're like, I wrote that.
Which one? Okay. So I have like a couple.
Okay.
I would say I think the scene that makes me go, wow, you did that is in Revenge when it's a flashback and Bridger has to kill Vega for the first time.
I've seen you make a couple posts about that, and I thought that was gonna be what you were gonna say.
There's a few of them. So there's that one.
Traumatizing.
I don't cry while I write. I cry after I've like because I kind of feel like I'm like blacking out and I'm just like they're
Yeah.
telling me what to write kind of thing. I'm like a zombie. But with when I go back and read, I get that time to like
Yeah.
kind of be emotionally attached to what's going on. I cried rereading that, and also the crying video on the internet is actually from Heart. That scene, so I would say Bridger having to kill Vega for the first time, that him being like, baby, I can't. Oh my God, it breaks me. Oh, I think it's more emotionally impactful for readers now, knowing who he is and like getting to kind of see a
Yes.
different side of him. Whereas like I already knew who he was. So
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
that was so hard for me because I knew how much pain he was in. And then in Heart, the scene that I cried was when Marlena tells, spoiler, Arlet, um not to leave her. When she begs, like, please don't leave me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that those were going to be the two
Those
scenes
are
that
like so impactful to the story though. It's just like,
yeah.
oh my God.
Those killed me. And then one in Vengeance, I would say, I think just like I love the like Bridger's praying scene. That was just
When
so
I tell you.
him
So,
on
okay,
his
so I read it faster than Jordan because Jordan was reading the
yeah.
like first two releases. That's how we're gonna word them. And so I was like ahead of her, and I was like, and we do this thing because okay, I also read at like a ridiculously fast speed.
She's so fast. I can't.
Like, and so
You sleep, go to bed. Let me catch up.
literally. And so I'm like flying through, right? And then I'm like, and so what we do is like I'll text her like little quotes of something, and then she has to like sit and like think on it. And so then I'm like texting her that. And then also there oh, I don't even it was something about like something about him saying something about her pussy. And
Oh my God. In the shower. Yeah, when he's
Yeah.
like not pussy, I thought maybe
so
talk
I'm like texting her and she's like, shut the up, right? Like what is
I'm
going
like,
on?
stop talking. I gotta read it.
Because also she was going through the like process of like, do I like Bridger? Like, do we
Yeah, because when I
like
was reading the first book, I was like, I don't know how this man gonna come back.
and then I'm telling her, and I'm like, no, trust me, we like him. Like, we like him.
I'm like, I don't know if his redemption arc is gonna be good.
I
I don't know.
and I know that some people are going to think that it like wasn't as like that it happened so quickly, but like when Bridger like those like there's such different people in this version of themselves in Vengeance where it's like yeah, it feels like Vega came back quick and everything happened really quickly, but like remember there's been 40 years for them
Yeah.
That's
to
what I was just about to say, is
That's
that they
sad.
have like years of history.
like yeah, okay, maybe it like feels like oh in 2 days they were fucking
Right.
and like moving, but like that's not true. Like
It's
they've
not
had
true.
40 years. Bridger just like they've never talked about it. So he just like when he oh my God, that scene, and I think my favorite scene in all of Vengeance is the last chapter.
I'm like holding up a middle finger, like actually to you. So for that. Okay. So
Those four scenes I would say are like
okay, so I actually you
agree.
didn't say a scene that I thought you were going to. I thought that you were going to say when he finally tells all the bonded. Now, obviously, he's already told her, but not in depth. But when he told the bonded everything and like literally was like going about like how like he was like captured and tortured and like how and like we're getting the story of just so he's like going we're like getting like oh my God like we're starting to like pull the heartstrings on him because he was held captive and then he like didn't get anyone talking to him for like 3 months at a time and he's going crazy and then he's like and then he's looking at them and he's like I lost her,
yeah.
the only people I had left were you guys. And I knew that, like, if I didn't save you guys, that she would never forgive me for that. So she told me she'd leave you alone if I did this. And
Yeah.
then also, Marlena kept saying, like, she's never going to be that girl, like, da 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 da. And I kept watching you come back and not be my person. And what did we agree on? We agreed that we did this for our people. So this entire
They were
time,
held by
like,
people. Yeah.
like when I tell you, and I literally was
Yeah.
like,
That's literally how it felt.
I made a comment early, like after finishing the first draft, where like Revenge is like Vega's book. Like you get to see Vega finally be like, fuck this, I'm done. Like
yes.
I'm done listening to people. I'm doing what I need to do. Heart of the Villain is very like that's the story that had to be told in order to set up. Like that's Marlena deserved that story too.
100%.
And then I feel like book two, so it's so Bridger. Like you get to
Yeah.
like you get to see him being funny a little bit with Meyer and like
Yes.
their friendship and their like brotherhood. You get to
Yeah.
see his little joking sides by like his little like pussy comment in the shower and like you get to kind of see Bridger because for 40 years a little under, but he locked himself away. He
Yeah.
was that person. So Vengeance was like really fun for me. There was so when I would like thought about that, I was like, there's also a scene where he says right when before that when Vega comes in to talk to him and she's like, how do you do it? Like, how do you reach me down the bond? And he's explaining that. And when she comes back, like when she leaves and she's like, don't make me regret this. and he's like feeling Vega inside a space that was like so lonely for so long, because remember, he was locked away and no one talked to him. So like knowing that he had that connection with Vega and like didn't have to be alone anymore, it was also like that scene was just like, oh my God.
And then the same thing towards her was that like she even there's an exact quote in there where she literally says, for the first time, I'm not alone.
Yeah. And that
So
brings in the aspect of death and like all of
the
that.
other things.
yeah, don't worry, we're gonna get into that.
Okay,
We're
okay,
gonna get into that.
All right. What is your research process like? So I know that like most authors have like I know what it looks like, but I don't know how it works yet. And you're also like one of the first authors that really brings in Earth.
Yeah, which is so fun, right? Like what?
Yeah, no, it's
we had a conversation last night about this where I was like, wow, like it's kind of weird, like everything we always say about how like, we live on Earth, and I wish that one day some like, 6 foot tall so and so that lives on another planet is gonna come here, and then boom, like Earth is just like human.
Yeah.
Like they're in Paris and Rome and looking at the Colosseum, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Like
Here. Yeah, so I knew going into this I wanted my first like book to be fantasy. Because of the like I am also going to go into the like rom-com and like contemporary space, but I knew that like if I was going to do this, I wanted it to be a long-term series. I wanted to be able to like spend some time with some characters. So I didn't want to overcomplicate things for myself, especially for my first series. I wanted it to feel as real and as like, if I were not a romantasy reader, could I dive into this book? And I feel
100%.
like there are some like aspects where you definitely like you have to pay attention. Like I'm dropping Easter eggs at any point. Anything could mean, there was some questions on the back that were like, does this mean something? And I'm like, everything means something. Like I'm one of those writers that like everything means something. You're gonna have to pay attention. But I wanted it to be like easy for me to do because this is my first series. I didn't want to get in over my head and have to start from the ground up and build this
like not build your entire complex world.
Exactly. So I knew like I loved mythology growing up, and I was like, I started looking into like Greek mythology, and I was like, oh God, everybody does Greek mythology. I'm like, God. So then the counterpart to that obviously is the Romans just stole Greek mythology and made it their own. But the Romans are known to be a little bit like more brutal, and I could go into like the darker side of things. And feel a little, not that the Greek gods weren't, but like the Roman Empire was known to just be like, scary and big and bad. So I started leaning into that, and that kind of helped me build the world, because then I was like, okay, well, we have Latin. I know that I can use a Latin name for everything. So like all of the 12 original gods, and all of the like original bloodlines. So you've got like Dimico, Kylum, Waderi, the Farah, all of them. Those are all Latin names that mean something connected to like each character. So like Kylum means like heaven or sky. So like that being her last name. Dimico is like, can be translated to like battle, fight, enemy. So all of those, like I was able to kind of like loop all of that around, and then I had kind of like a bubble of where I could work, right? But I got to play around with the real world aspect as well as like the fantasy. So I didn't know a lot going into it. I knew like I had to name things. I needed like all of the territory names. I had to have those things kind of done, but I definitely kind of continued world building as I went. Like if I was, because I didn't plot revenge like at all. Like revenge was just like pants my way through that, and now I don't allow myself to do that anymore because that's very hard when you're on deadlines. But I that one was like it gosh, there's so many things I'm like I don't want to say, but I guess I can say with you guys. I'm trying to like hold back on everything I'm saying. But anyway, so I knew I had to have this like bubble of where I wanted to stay within plotting. And then things come to you. Like I didn't know how everybody's powers worked so much. So the like research process was very like, this is where you need to be, which was great for me. It was so great for me because I didn't have to like, I have another series planned later where it's like full, like all my own world building. And I could not have imagined doing that for my first.
Doing that, okay, so a moment that stuck out for me, and we laughed about this last night, we were having a conversation, was the fact that she's like, what do you mean the portal closed? How am I going to get you back to California? Like, you don't have an ID, you don't have a passport, like, you don't have nothing. And
No,
I was just like sitting there and I was like, what an idiot. And then I was like, wait, like, he doesn't know any better. And so I just thought it was so funny. But like, I was giggling at that because, okay, so have you read any of the Blood and Ash series?
I have not.
Okay, don't do that until you're ready for a break because that is
Yeah.
like technically two series that are
Okay.
like here and then go and watch our
Okay.
episode on it and it'll make sense, right? But
Perfect.
there is this moment where all of a sudden, because it's like medieval, this and that, and then all of a sudden we're in New York City.
And you're like,
yeah.
And so we literally like because that book came out what, Jordan, like a month and a half ago? Yeah,
Yeah.
like a month and a half ago. So we were just having like a conversation about how like no one ever brings in Earth and like it was so
Yeah.
crazy. And all of a sudden I'm like, they're in Paris. Like what
Yeah.
is going on?
like,
So
where
no,
are
and
you?
I loved it.
it
I
was
loved
such
it.
like a fun, unique way because like you see the bad sides of life and like
Yeah.
you see Vega go through things that we go through.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like Heavenly and I have been in some shit situations, so like it's easy to relate to that. And then you take us to Tolvera, and then we're in an escape. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
it was such a unique way of writing a book. I loved it. I honestly loved the way that
Love.
you blended Earth and the fantasy world.
I always thought, like, when we were kids and we're reading all these dystopian books and all these things, it's like, what would it be like if I were Katniss Everdeen and someone just showed
No,
up?
that literally, exactly.
Literally.
I always thought, like, what? And when I was younger and I was thinking these questions, they're all different because you're so much younger. But like, I had someone just recently ask me, like, why did I start the book at a bar? Like, what was so like? And I was like, well, as a bartender too, like, I've seen some people at like the lowest points of their life where they just come in and they don't want you to talk to them. They're not going to say like, they just need to come in and like, they want to be around people, but they don't want to be bothered. And I was like, I feel like it's so relatable. And what a funny way to find out that you're not from the world that you're in. You're just
Yeah.
trapped in a
Yeah.
bar.
Well, and I was gonna
Yeah.
say the fact that like I feel like it was such a real scene that I literally was like, damn, I'm already relating from like first chapter of like her
Yeah.
literally being like she just found Chase cheating on her. Now she's at a bar and she's like I need a double. Like
Yeah. It honestly, it's hard for a book to catch me first chapter, but the way that like, okay,
yeah.
we're walking in, Chase is cheating on her, now we're at a bar getting trashed, and our comes in and here she is, like
I
it
know. And
immediately hooks
Arlet,
you from chapter one.
I love that people are like, Arlet's my favorite character because I love her so much. She's my favorite.
Honestly, it reminds like when I was reading it, it very much so was I was like reading it and I was like, that's Jordan. Like that's literally Jordan. So that goes in to we're gonna get into book questions now.
Okay, cool. Let's do
Enough
it.
about you. No, I'm kidding.
Honestly, God, we've been yapping for enough about me. Let's talk about the fun stuff.
Okay, so are any of the characters influenced or based off of people in your life?
Yes. Okay. I don't base like a lot of my like main characters off people in my life. I feel like they might have elements of things from,
Okay.
like trauma or
Yeah.
I say Arlet's like all of my like best girlfriends merged into one, like it's just
Okay.
my love letter to like the best girlfriend that you could ever have. But there is one character who I was like, this motherfucking man is getting a spot in my book. And it kind of ended up merging into like two people because it was like very separate. So in the service industry, I've worked at some trash places, man. That's just, I don't even know how else to explain it. I love my restaurant now. I obviously like want to write full time, hopefully by 2027, but like Delulu goals. It'll be sad to leave them, but this specific, so Gregor at the beginning of Revenge at that corner store, he's this mean Romanian man. I worked with him like through COVID, through everything, and he's the worst man. Like he just was an awful, like, well, I was in the moment, I was like so gaslit because I loved my job and I loved like my coworkers and like I had like I kind of got whatever I wanted, but I wasn't. I was like he was just so awful. So I just kind of like threw him in at first just to be like, screw you, like, and then it turned into then her working at Bobby's Diner, and then being kind of like a D-bag as well.
Right.
So that is my like hate letter to having crappy managers in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
I
I
absolutely
feel
love that.
that. I feel that one.
Yeah,
We
we feel that one on a personal note.
Yeah.
in there, and like it's so unfortunate, but it's funny. It's like funny to look back on now because
So we already covered how many books we're doing. You kind of gave us a date early 2027 or 2027-ish for book 3.
yeah, it'll be like spring. It won't be like
Yeah.
early winter, but it'll be just so I can wrap it well, and I'll have a release in between that. But
Cute.
it's a
Um,
trilogy novella, so I call it 3.5.
okay. If you had to describe the final book in 3 words, what would it be?
Okay. This is just a little LOL, and I think my assistant's really gonna like this, but I'll explain why I think it's funny. So, in Vengeance, we know that in Revenge, Meyer calls Vega Sparks. That's his like little nickname for her. Well, then you find out that he calls Court Scales, and then at the end he calls Arlet Spooky. So you've got Sparks, Scales, and Spooky. So I was like, I'm gonna do all S's because this is funny. So I would say book 3 is sexy, sad, and sacrilegious.
Okay.
Mhm.
Good word.
There, I think that like obviously we turned the heat up in Vengeance. Like,
Oh yeah.
there's a
Oh
lot.
yeah, because
Love.
she literally was like, Heaven, we got one kiss. That was it.
I know.
And I was
I
like,
was like, bro,
please
one
just wait.
kiss.
Keep reading.
It makes
Yeah.
up for it in book 2 in Vengeance
Oh,
because
it is worth the wait. It is worth the wait.
Get new because like okay, I have like 55 years of knowledge of these characters in
Right.
my head, so I know what they looked like in their 20s when they were together, you know, like I know I have these scenes that are written of who they were, and like so I will eventually start dropping some like bonus content of like scenes with them together. So I like know what they looked like, and I know the horny little dogs that they were in their early 20s. And now that they're back together, they're gonna just be like that again. Like they're just gonna be like, well, we have 40 years to make up for, you know? Like
Okay, wait. I just thought of this too because okay, so in this book, right? They're like they haven't said they're together yet, but like they're together, right? And I'm like, oh my god, is she gonna like ever tell him that she like made out and like almost slept with Court? And then she did, and I literally was like, I don't know how he's gonna take this. Like how is this gonna go? And then he just was like,
literally like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm not gonna freak.
everything is fine.
He's like, and then Vega like bringing in I had someone ask like why I brought in Helena, and I was like, well, you know, I wanted everyone to understand that like these two characters did not pine over each other for 40 years. They weren't like, oh, I'm never going to be with another person ever again. Vega has no fucking clue what's going on ever.
Yeah.
The poor thing. But Bridger has
Yeah.
blocked all of his emotions off. He's going
Yeah.
to find a high in whatever he can.
Oh
And
yeah.
of course, he's going to like sex. But I wanted to show that, like, because I get that question a lot, like, oh, where were they with other people? Yeah, it's been 40 years.
Yeah, it's been 40 years, and like they weren't together.
Yeah, like they're not together. If they were like, oh, maybe we're still no, the breakup was clear. There was a
yeah,
they were also very clearly like completely different people than they were when they were together.
I mean, Vega didn't even know who he was for 4
Yeah.
years. So.
Vega's like, oh, you're hot. I could be in love with you, but I actually don't know who you are. You know, like
Yeah.
So with bringing like Helena in, I wanted that to kind of just be like to show the moment where Vega's like, I literally don't give a shit.
The
Like-
fact that no, because I literally spit water out when she was like, "Oh, y'all fucked." Like,
Oh,
was like I love her
No.
because as soon as that girl was introduced, right? I literally was like, "Ooh, this girl, they did it, they did it." And then she said that, I was like,
Vega's just like, all right, whatever. Like, good for her.
You're mine now. I don't care.
Bragging rights forever. Good for
Yeah.
you. So I wanted it to show that like she's kind of like, nah, like, okay, yeah, maybe like we don't need to talk about it because like, girl, get over yourself. But like, we don't have to be buddy buddies and have like conversations about that. But like, I wanted it to show that Bridger was a little bit not as cool about it. Like,
yeah. Well, and like the chase thing where like the chase was like, oh yeah, I'll be leaving with my wife, and he's like, my wife, like
he's like, oh god, and you know, he's like, I have no right to feel this way.
Yeah, and he says it multiple times, and
he's like, he knows,
and he's like, but I do.
Yeah, so, and I think it's in his point of view where he's like, self-awareness doesn't stop me from acting.
Oh yeah. And
Like,
he was like, even though logically, like, I know I shouldn't feel this way, like I do. And then he literally was like, because no one's ever gonna touch her and fuck her the way I do. And I just was like,
you're like,
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
well, this is for you, Bridger Demico.
okay. So I'm very excited for book 3 now. Okay. Are Vega and Bridger mates in the sense of whatever? Okay, so obviously every book has different things of like what it's called, but mates, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of mentions of other people and the gods that continue to say soul bonded. The others are always just called the bonded. And then they have the mind link, which like mind link. And then he can wield her lightning. And then I know that it says that they like in training found out that the others could use it too, but he always has this thing. And then Death went to him to protect her. So I like
It will all make there's oh god, I want to say it so bad. Okay, it'll all make sense. This comes back to book 1.
okay.
So yes, you'll find out why their connection is so different. And it wasn't something that was intentionally done on this character's part. It just was part of them not understanding being gods yet. They had no idea. So somebody did something that wasn't intentional and was able to kind of like bring that back around.
Okay.
So they are like soulmates. They are like
I knew it.
like I don't want to like use the word that I have like planned for
Yeah.
it, but
Okay. No,
basically, yeah. They're you'll find like book 3 will like it's gonna be something that you're like, no fucking way, Dany. No fucking
Oh
way.
God.
Oh no.
Kind of like how we see in the prologue where Bridger's like, I would follow you to the underworld if you asked. And then at the very end, he comes back around and says, like, not even the underworld can keep me from you. So
It's highlighted. Don't you worry.
that's like I literally tell like I give you the information in book 1 that you know that he eventually is going to go to the underworld. So
Yeah.
something happens. There is a scene that is also then brought up again in Vengeance a couple times briefly that
Okay.
you'll find out about in
Okay.
book
3.
Okay.
I love when I'm right.
Yeah. So they are like soulmates essentially.
We are very much like the type of people to break down and analyze everything.
I
Like,
love hearing people's theories because it's like there are some things that I'm like,
I didn't
wow.
think of that.
There are some things that I'm like, wow, actually, that's a good idea. So sometimes, like, especially in the drafting process, I do have to kind of try to stay away from that because I don't want to be like, that's a great idea and insert it into the storyline.
Yeah.
But like right now, I love like I just theories are so fun to me. But it's crazy. I was on a I have a couple girls that I'm friends with now, but they had a podcast which is like on pause. But I did like a little chat with them, and I at the end was like, okay, what are your theories? What do you think's going on in book 2? And they literally guessed the prologue, and I was like, I can't say. I was literally like, I was like, I can't believe because everybody else's guess was a little bit off. It was
Mhm.
like, oh, we think XYZ is going to happen, but instead, like they were right on, and I was like,
Did you guys look at my notes? Like, what do we?
yeah.
I'm like, hold on a fucking second. What do you
In my
mean?
brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, did you get because I changed Revenge. I changed the ending of Revenge the night before it went out to ARCs. Yeah. I had this epiphany because I always knew that I loved mid-scene spoiler or cliffhangers growing up. Like there's nothing better than like getting to like, oh God, I can just remember my reactions to like the end of like Eclipse and the end
Yeah.
of like, New Moon, all like just everything. I just remember being like so
It
like
like feels like it almost ends in the middle of a sentence.
yes. And I always loved like cliffhangers. I know that they're like not controversial, but like some people hate them and some people love them. And I've always just been a person that I'm like, oh,
I'm a love hate. Like I love
Yeah,
it
I'm a
because of what
love-hate.
it does, but also
Yeah.
like fuck you because like like you left me hanging.
I don't mind. So I always knew that I wanted it to be like mid-scene cliffhanger. So
Okay.
I didn't rewrite Revenge. I took off 2 chapters. So
Okay.
that ended up turning into the first two chapters in Vengeance.
Okay.
It was just flipped a
Okay.
little bit. It
Okay.
was it ended where I think I had to take a little bit out from where Vega, like the ending of Revenge Now. There was like a little like a transition.
Yeah.
And then it went into, I'm trying to remember which way I had it. It was opposite of what I have it now. So the prologue is Vega like waking up in the hospital.
Yeah.
Um, the other, I think it was that was next. So she was waking up, and then the last chapter was Bridger having a separate dream. There's another dream that he had that I changed in Vengeance.
Okay. So
Okay.
I guessed, and
Yeah,
Jordan is my witness. When I finished this, it was before like we had even talked, right?
yeah,
I don't even know when book two,
yeah.
release three. I was like, all I know is that she's gonna wake up and remember her memories, and she's gonna be back with that cheating ass hoe of a man.
Love
And then
it.
I literally was like, and I feel like we're gonna get some like Twilight scene where she's gonna like wake up in the hospital and be like, "Ooh, what happened?" And then yeah, so I'm like reading this and I was like, "Oh my god!"
When
That's what they had guessed too. But it's funny because everybody else was like, okay, she's gonna wake up and she's gonna have her memories. And I'm like, yeah, like that was obviously the point of doing that. But I didn't have her like, it was very different in the first draft. Like it was she was a little bit more direct on being like, I know that these memories are true and you guys are
Mm,
crazy. And I was like, that's just not going to work for the time frame. She needs to fight with it. Like,
yeah.
so it was able to like develop into that a little bit. um because I needed time for Bridger on like back in Toll of Air. I needed him to be able to like,
Well, I also feel like that because you did it that way, it played into how much this curse affected other people around her,
yeah.
and we got to see that in a little bit of a deeper light.
yeah,
So I think honestly, I think I would have literally critiqued it if it would have just been instant like, I
Yeah.
know everything.
It's
Like,
also
I don't
very
know.
like obvious within the first book that you're like, this curse is not just Vegas. It is everybody
Yeah.
else's.
yeah.
It does affect everybody else around her. And it
I
definitely
tied to
you
Vega.
did it
Like,
so well.
thank you. The curse was the craziest thing for me because you have to think about it as like when I started building it in book one, it felt like very hard to build this curse, deconstructing this curse and lining everything up for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I can only
It
imagine.
Yeah.
killed because it was like I had this different plan for the curse. I had it plotted, it was ready to go. I knew how it was going to write, and as I wrote it, I was like, I fucking hate this. I hate this. I
Mhm.
don't like the way that this feels. It feels like I'm over explaining it, just things it felt like I was trying, you could tell in my first draft that I was trying to unbreak the curse. You could tell that like you could see the wheels turning. So then
Yeah.
like halfway through one round of edits, I went, you know what would be really cool? I completely changed the entire curse. I threw
I
in
love that.
Pluto's involvement was not as like big as it was.
Hmm.
Vega wasn't death in the first like
And I love that. So I'm so glad
draft.
that
I do
happened.
love that.
Yeah.
She basically, so much changed in like that transition period to make Vengeance what it is now. But it needed that, like it needed to be what it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, yeah, it's crazy to look back and think about like if I would have made a different decision, what this book could be. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's exactly what it needed to be. It just felt like it killed me to get it there.
Well, I also feel like, and like you said this too. How do I say this? Okay. As a reader, I hate it, but then after I read it, I appreciate it. And I think what I liked is that from book one, I just was like, we're confused because she's confused. And
Hmm.
then like in book two, we're learning when she's learning. So it's one of those things where I'm like, God, can this just make sense? But then like
All of a
also
sudden,
it's yeah. And so I feel like the way that you did it,
yeah,
and it just very much made it feel like we were learning and growing with Vega as she is like coming into all of this.
yeah. And I wanted it to feel that way. I wanted like, because Vega doesn't know anything. And so while it's still written in third person, you still don't know anything that Vega doesn't know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I liked the aspect, and that was another world building piece, like going back to what we talked about earlier, where like I didn't want to make it too complicated for myself. So the easiest way for me to learn and build about this world is
Right.
learning and teaching it through Vega because she doesn't know anything. So
Yeah.
even the death concept, bringing that in, she has no idea what has happened. When she comes back through, like, yeah, she knows that something's different and she can feel this new power, but she is putting in the clues as you go. So by the end of the book, she understands what's happening. So just
Yeah.
imagine who she's going to be in book 3 with the knowledge and the power. So you're seeing her like book 1 not know shit about like what's that thing from that one show where she's like, I don't know shit about fuck. Literally, that's how vague,
Love
like
that.
she knows nothing. Like, and then
Yeah. No, that's perfect to describe her.
literally like she knows shit about fuck. It's like nothing. So she's learning who she is, and then you get to book 2 and she's like, okay, I know this new power, but now she also knows herself. So like
Right.
book 3, the Vega in book 3,
Like she was already badass, but like I just feel like
Yeah.
she's gonna be full badassery.
I'm waiting for it. Like honestly, I'm so waiting for it. And I know they're not married, but like I'm waiting for a like a where's my husband type moment. Ah, I just love them.
oh, it's so, there's so many things I want to say.
Stop. Okay. Jordan, next question.
Okay. Is Summer's question at the end of the book foreshadowing for something to expect in book 3?
Hell yeah.
I know you already mentioned
Oh,
I'm
I
an
knew it.
author. You said I'm an author where everything means something. So
Everything.
I figured yes, but
Yeah. Then you ask, do like the connection to death and shadows mean something different? And yes. Um,
I knew it. I knew it.
everything means something, especially in that chapter.
okay.
Okay, so now I have a question that's not on there that I just thought about
Okay.
going off of the deeper connection to Death and Shadows for Bridger.
Yeah.
Have we seen all of his powers yet?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Is it like a happy ending?
It will, yes. There
Okay.
will
Okay.
be a happy ending. But it kind of is one of those happy endings where it's like, I don't want to call it like a happy for now because it is the end of the story where they're at right now. Like that we come to an end of Vega, Bridger, Marlena, the bonded. Like you get a clear picture of everybody's own happy ending. So like while technically you're not gonna see like Arlet and Court fall in love right this second, they get the happy endings that they deserve. So like we know Arlet kind of I don't want to say that, God, okay. There's more plans for Arlet and there's more plans for other characters that you've met, you know? So like everybody gets these happy endings and then you have Vega and Bridger who will get a very different happy ending than I think anybody is going to see because it's got to set up for another series.
Okay.
Vega just really the only thing I can say is like Vega always just was like, I just want to be like left alone.
Yeah.
And poor girl like is getting that in a way that she never it's not really what she's getting it in one way and then losing it in another and she's like hell like I just wanted some peace.
It is
Also,
what
me
it
and
is,
Jordan
man.
have this like theory, like it's not a theory, but like it's a thing that we say in books where as long as they're together, it's a happy ending for us. And like if they're both villains, they're together. So like it doesn't matter. So
It doesn't matter. Yeah. No, everybody will get the happy ending that they deserve. Not everybody, but most people
most people okay.
Most people are gonna get the happy ending.
Okay.
They're gonna get the ending they deserve.
Okay, so in book 3, are we okay, so this question was wrote because it wasn't 100%, like we didn't know if we were doing 3 or 4 books.
Yep.
So I'm assuming we're getting an end of the war.
Yeah.
This, right?
Yeah.
Like and like the world and the war and all of the problems are going to be solved in this, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So like we'll wrap up the story in Toliver.
Okay.
The best way for now. Like obviously we'll have connections back to that later, but the next spin-off of this is not going to be a Toliver based book. So it's like you're going to see you're not going to get to see them kind of rebuild that world. But you're gonna see them get things in place in order. Who's gonna be the new leader? Like who's gonna help rebuild this world? And you'll get to see pieces of that throughout the next series. But we're gonna wrap the story basically in Tolabear for now, and then we'll go back and revisit once they kind of have their shit figured out. Because I don't want to rebuild another fucking government. They can figure it out. Like,
no, that's that's valid.
Okay, so you don't have to answer this one because it might be too big of a spoiler. But is Vega going to the underworld?
There's a connection to the underworld. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
Okay, connection to the underworld. I'll take it.
Connection.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a connection.
Okay. We'll take that
Is this quote, how important is this quote? A challenge for my throne.
It's super important.
Okay. So it wasn't just, some talk. It has meaning.
It has meaning.
Okay.
Oh, I know. Okay.
I can't wait to hear your guys' theories. You guys are gonna have so many after this.
Okay, Jordan.
I'm gonna start a note list.
Yeah, things to ask Dany.
Yeah.
Is the fact that Vulcan the loudest.
Is that he the loudest? Because there is literally an exact, she says he's the loudest, and then she says, why is he the loudest?
This is just right now, you have to think of it as what powers were. This kind of, I think, wraps into should you trust the gods?
Yeah.
Because you have to think of who's loudest in Marlena's head. So who's the strongest god? So this is the one right now that Vega has the biggest connection to, because the other that she, at that moment before the end of the book, she takes, what is it? A fourth power from Marlena at the very end. Which I think everybody should know what god it is, but that'll be confirmed in book 3. So we have to think of who's affecting who are the strongest gods. So obviously those gods are going to be louder inside of it. I don't necessarily think that it means anything more.
Okay.
Just right now, that's the loudest and the most powerful god that she's having to.
Okay.
Because up until now, Diana is a quieter god, and then you have Death, who's kind of taken on this dragony. So she kind of that's already kind of been used a little bit. So Vulcan is this big, strong power already. And you'll see as she continues to take more, you'll see other gods affect her.
Okay. So then going into the question of that, should we trust the voices? Because for example,
God, they always have their own motives.
Okay.
All of them.
How do I work? How much should we trust them when, and if you can't answer, it's okay, but they're whispering in her ear that they can help her with the one who's trying to take them. And then at the end, when Bridger was doing his thing, they were screaming at both sisters, stop him, stop him, stop him, da 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 da. Right. So how significant is this, or is this just obviously for selfish reasoning, if that makes sense?
So we find out at the end that it's not Remus, right? Who bound the bonded.
Yeah.
That obviously ties them to the underworld without them knowing that they've been tied to the underworld for as long as they have. There is more lore. So if they were summoning Remus, and this will be dropped in more detail in book 3, if they thought they were summoning Remus, but Pluto answered instead, where have the gods been the whole time? And where's Remus been? So the lore that they think they know about Remus, there's so many unknowns for them right now. Even Bridger going in and doing what he does. He knows so much more than you see on page. Yeah. He kept a lot secret, and we'll obviously learn that in book 3. So that whole piece will come into play a little bit more so I can answer it without answering it. That's as best, and that's as close as I can give you to an answer on that. Never trust a god, especially the old ones.
Okay. Good to know.
They always had their own plans, and you'll
Got
find
it.
out why why those gods inside of them are afraid.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so last question. This one wasn't on there because I had a dream and this came to me in my sleep.
That's okay.
Okay. And then we're gonna talk about like future for you. So like obviously we're gonna get into your rom-com and stuff.
Yep.
In the beginning of the book,
Mhm.
of book 3,
Mhm.
is Bridger going to be on the same plane as Vega, or is he going to be somewhere else?
Um, Bridger has to take a trip.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
That's
got it.
All right.
yeah. It won't be, I can say like it's going to kind of pick up immediately. Whereas like, yeah, Vengeance picks up immediately, but you have that month gap.
Yeah.
The next book just kind of like
Okay.
picks
Right into
immediately.
it.
The
Okay.
prologue will be a little bit different. Like I'll do my normal Dany happened in the past prologue, so you kind of get like an idea of what Bridger did. Uh,
Yeah.
and then or like the information that he knew that I didn't tell you in book 2 because
Yeah.
I wanted it to feel elusive. I wanted it to be like, Bridger, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it did.
Like,
Yeah.
I know you're up to some stupid shit and I need you to stop. Like, I
Yeah.
wanted you to be like, what do you know? What do you know that you're not
Yep.
telling us? So, like, he's telling you, like, he's giving you these clues of like him being like, what do you know about the god of the underworld? But then scene ending. But there's conversations that are happening in between that, like, Court and Arlet know a lot more than they even let Vega know, you know? So, like, there's so many secrets and
Yeah.
so many things that you'll find out so quickly as soon as book 3 picks up. Okay, next projects.
So you obviously stated that you're writing a rom-com.
Yeah.
One, are you
Yeah.
writing in third person? Are you going to stick with third person?
No, my fantasies will be third. Obviously we know that I'm a big secret writer. Like there's a lot of secrets
Yeah.
behind the scenes that like you'll hear even like Rebecca Yarros say that you can't get a lot of Zayden's point of views until he's done with secrets. And it's because being inside Bridger's head full time, there would be no way for you to hide. And same with
Yeah.
Vega. Like there were so many unknowns. The whole fucking first half of Revenge would have been this girl just being like, ah, la, 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 like I don't know anything. Like the
Right.
world building would have been so different without third
Yeah.
person.
Right.
So my rom-coms are going to be right now I'm writing them in first present, but I think I might end up changing it to first past, which like doesn't mean a lot for readers sometimes. Like I don't think, but like in my brain, so I am trying, this is actually the first story that I've ever written in first person,
Oh,
That's
but I
exciting.
connect to a romance story in first person better than I do third.
So your rom-com is going to be in first person, most likely. Do you have like a title? Like how far are you into writing?
I'm like halfway through my first draft. So I've been simultaneously working
yeah.
on
Girl, when do you sleep?
never. I'm like halfway through, maybe a little under halfway through. It's actually due to my editor January 1st or January 5th. So
Okay.
this month is today I'm finishing up my final little like read through of Vengeance. I have like 10 or 11 chapters just to kind of like go through and like there was a couple arc spelling errors and things like that which happen. So just doing my last read through and then I will dive full into I have a title, I have names, I have a full plot, I have all of the things. But I'm gonna give right now. I'll give Vengeance like the time it needs to kind
Yeah.
of like settle in, and
Yeah.
I'll do all of those. So yeah, like it's like fully fleshed out. I have my cover designer reached out to me today. Actually,
Yay, that's exciting.
things are like happening. So rom-com is set for spring of 2026. Obviously, that is up to change if I have recently queried an agent if an agent wants to pull it and maybe try trad, who knows, but as of now we are talking spring 2026. I'll stay on my own deadline for that. But basically he is an up and coming stand-up comedian. He's 25 years old, and he meets a 31-year-old masked book talker and accidentally doxes her at his show, and after a one night stand of her being like, I'm never gonna see this man again. He is gorgeous. I'm just gonna like go have a good night. To waking up the next morning after she leaves to finding a viral video blowing up of them and the whole internet finding out that she is who she is because nobody knows who she is online. And now she works for him. She takes a job traveling with him around we're doing like um, kind of Midwest. It's like a Midwest, like Boston. They start in Boston. So it's a Boston based so much. But so he's so fun because I'm used to writing like broody, like
Yeah.
just really like we don't talk about our feeling. Like I'm used to writing Bridger and like kind of
Yeah.
whereas like you get to see pieces of him being funny, but like it's not his whole personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with rom-com with the comedian, I get to just like he's just so fun and he's so goofy and like he just says whatever he wants. He just is like,
I
"Bleh,"
love
like
that.
I'm just gonna say it. She is so opposite. Like she's very much like it's just so fun. It's so fun. They're dynamic and like getting
I
to write
love
like
it.
that happy
Wait,
preppy.
I'm actually really excited.
It's so like I don't want to be like I love writing really dark and like twisted. I love that like switching your brain and like I love the shock of writing the type of romantasy that
Yeah.
I write. But I'm having so much fun just getting to be like goofy because there's so many goofy scenes that I have to cut from my like
Yeah.
romantasies that
Yeah.
just don't fit the vibe. So I finally get to like there's a scene and we can share this. There's a scene in the rom-com where like after she's leaving the one night stand, she's like, I need fucking water right now. Remind you, they were like kind of drinking throughout the night. They weren't like drunk where they're like it was very consensual. I'm
Yeah.
all like but like they were drinking. So she's also 31. I'm 30. You wake up in the morning after having 3 drinks.
Yeah, and you're yeah.
Gallon of water. So she wakes up in the morning and she's like, I need water, but I don't want to wake this man up because I'm trying to sneak out on him. And she goes over and she's like, water on the side table, picks it up. It's not water, it's tequila. Hungover, takes a sip of this tequila and spews it all over his back. And he wakes up, obviously, and is like, were you trying to sneak out? And she's like, no, no, yes, yes. I don't know why I'm yelling. I don't know why I'm lying to you. I was trying to get out. So like I get to do all of these funny, goofy things that it's like
Yeah.
that wouldn't happen in real life. But it's like, but some of these inside jokes that I'm putting in are things that I'm like, no one would ever believe me. No one would
Yeah.
ever believe. Like we have another inside joke that probably won't go in this book, but it'll go in the spinoff series. So I have then a spinoff series that's going to come after this.
Okay.
You'll meet 2 of the characters that get like it'll be kind of like a duet. You'll get that, and then they'll have a spinoff of like who the next characters in that series are.
That's Jordan's favorite thing. That's
Yeah.
literally her favorite thing.
Yes, I love
So
it.
we'll start with rom-com 1, and then you'll have like I don't want to like say the characters' names, but you'll get this one, and those are kind of like coinciding. Like
Okay.
it's a little bit like the second book will be a little bit after, but then who this character is in this book spins off to like 4 more stories.
Okay.
So there's like I get to kind of stay in this space with these characters for a while too. Which is it's fun because I don't want to like say I like that's the hardest thing I think about going from romantasy to like because I'm spending so much time with these characters and I'm like not ready to say goodbye after one book. So this is
Yeah.
like don't have to say goodbye, but I get to like so yeah, it's been so fun. So that's kind of my like next plan is to do like we'll have rom-com come out in spring and then I might take like a little bit of time in between to finish book 3. Do you guys want to know the title?
Yeah.
Yes. I know.
That's so exciting.
I literally told Jordan it was. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
So I'm going to try to basically do rom-com romantasy
Okay.
and flip back and
It
forth.
definitely when you flip like that, it gives you like a breath
think-
of fresh air,
Yeah.
I feel
It'll
like.
make me a better writer. I think that it'll
Yeah.
give me like the Curse God series is super dark. So like having that break and giving myself kind of like a fun side project, I think is really important. I did Revenge, Heart, and Vengeance basically like back to back, and that was a lot of darkness. So getting this little break has been super duper fun. And I think the spin-off series, like those are all basically planned. We have leads for everybody. I'll have another sapphic book in that. which I'm super excited for. I could make the Curse God series much longer. I just want to be able to give myself other realms to go jump in, and then we can come
Yeah.
back later. Um,
So, I mean, it seems like you have pretty much like your schedule lined up
For the
of,
next like 5 years.
yeah.
my goal is hopefully that I can be full time by 2027.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that like writing 2 projects a year isn't as hard on me as it has been. So that's the goal, kind of to get to that point. And then I can work on 2 projects and do like, work on my like whatever I'm working on. So depending on what the market looks like when I'm getting close to that, I will hopefully have like 2 books kind of in the same position. So at that moment, as much of an artist as I am, I still have to think of like market and like what's going to do well. So, but yeah, super excited for everything. Thank you guys so much
I'm
for reading.
excited. Thank you for coming
No,
on.
thank you. Thank you for your service.
I'm
Okay.
not even joking. I'm not even joking. When was your anniversary, Heavenly? April?
May.
May.
It was in May.
Since May, she has been like, you need to read this book. She's been talking about it nonstop. She's like, we're gonna read this, yada yada. And she's like, this book is so good. And I finally read it and I was like, wow, yeah.
All right. And you read it super early then, Heavenly, because you were like, if you read it in May, it had only come out in September.
Yeah.
So I'm a lot now people being like, oh my God, I didn't know this series existed. And I was like, that's fair. Like that's normal. Like it took like probably a year of me just like screaming into the void. And like,
I
mean, it's like the holidays. It's been like very slow over the holidays, but it took about it's funny to like be like, I didn't know you existed. And it was like, well, it's my first and only book on the market. So I'm excited to have more.
It looked okay. I'm not gonna lie, it looked pretty, and that's what made me be like, ooh. And then I picked it up, and then I read it,
Don't
and then
judge
I opened it, saw it was signed, put it in the thing.
Yeah, everyone says they don't judge a book, or you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but we all do.
No, I do. It's
really not like I'm not even talking about people, right? Like if we're just talking about books, a pretty cover is going to win me over every single
every single time.
Absolutely.
And every single time. If it has an ugly cover, I like, even if it has the best recommendation in the world, I'm kind of just like,
really? Yeah.
I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you only doing paperback right now, or are you considering doing hardback?
I am going to have probably sometime next year. I'll have hardbacks.
And then when you do your book signings, because some authors, it's just show up, book sign, talk, merch, meet, whatever. And then some do like, you buy the book, get it signed, da-da-da-da-da.
Every bookstore is a little bit different, but for the most part, like any bookstore, even if you're not even coming to buy a book, if you already have my full catalog, you can just come and like say hi and get pictures and like hang out. I do have it like signings, and I usually don't do them at big bookstores. I will have these. I don't know if you've seen these covers. So I have, it's my character art, but I have like special.
Oh my God, yeah, they're so pretty.
So gorgeous. And then like the back is just like
it's absolutely gorgeous. I love them.
So these ones I don't usually sell if I'm like, because I'm obviously the art is very, very expensive. So these are priced up even at a paperback.
Yeah.
Because art is so, and she's worth every freaking penny, but
it is still expensive.
Well, I don't sell these at bookstores that because like a lot of bookstores do consignment. So like I come in, and which is totally fair because they're checking out, doing all the stocking, whatever. They get a percentage of the sales. With these ones, I don't do that. If they get a percentage of my sales, I do these at where I make the full profit. Revenge and Heart will go on my website for a pre-order in January. So if you want these covers, you can. They are technically my signing editions, but like I can't expect all of my people, like my readers, to come out. So once a year, I'll do an order of these.
Oh, okay.
Get these. But they're technically only sold at certain events throughout the year, so like signing stuff. And I usually have goodies and stuff to give away too. So
last question before we let you leave. Where can we find your upcoming books? Can we find them in bookstores? Kindle Unlimited?
So
for people, I already know this answer, but
easiest way to find me is through Instagram, and I have everything linked there. My website's DanyCrooks.com, but you can find any of my books on Amazon or Kindle Unlimited if you have a subscription to that. And if you do feel so inclined to support an indie author, I do sell signed copies through my website, and I make a little bit more money off of those. So, but those come with, I usually have like art prints to give away and stickers and like bookmarks and all the goodies and things like that. But yeah, Amazon, Kindle Unlimited. wherever I'm not in every bookstore. You can find me in some. But if you don't see me in a bookstore, recommend or request me. That's the only way that I'm going to get into them. So the more people request at big bookstores, the more I get put into those bookstores, and the more money I'll have to write books for the rest of my life.
Perfect.
Yay.
Perfect. And that's what we want. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're very excited. And remember that the book comes out this Friday on the 5th. So go get it, read it, love it, enjoy it just like we do. Thank you so much, Dany. So,
Thanks.
yeah, that's it, guys.
See you next Saturday.
Bye.